We can start off with the first question. Who are you and what do you do?
I'm Anastasia. I'm the founder of Globetrotter VR.
What inspired you to start Globetrotter VR?
It's a very good question. So back in 2017, I was working in finance and I had a travel blog, which I was writing. And at the time, I thought it would be really interesting to implement virtual reality into the blog to really give people access to different destinations and make experiences that are remote and exotic more accessible. And so I started working with travel brands, with tourism boards to really showcase their offerings. And it went really well. It was a really successful offering. And I decided that I wanted to make this into a product. So this is how the idea of Globetrotter VR came about. We really wanted to create a platform that allows people to experience virtual travel and experience destinations from their home.
I think an important question to ask is it what you expected?
Is the okay, so what do you mean what you expected?
So obviously you had a goal, you had a dream,
Right.
you had a mindset going in, and once it all started, obviously challenges surface, but
Yeah.
after the challenges, is it what you expected? Are you or were there new things that arose
Came about.
that you completely didn't even think of?
Okay, fine. I got the question. Actually, no, absolutely not. I believe that we often set out to do things and we have a certain vision or plan in mind, and specifically when it comes to planning things, we often are met with reality of life and circumstances. So those really get in the way. When I initially started Globetrotter VR, my goal was to create a tool to allow people to plan their travels. So I believe that there is a huge wealth of information online when it comes to booking your trip. So, your flights, your hotels, but then when it comes to actually planning your trip and what you're going to do there, the information is very scattered, it's fragmented. You have to spend a lot of time sort of sorting through a lot of blogs and websites and trying to process it to figure out what it is that you would actually want to do when you go somewhere. So I thought VR is a really great tool to help that problem and to really allow people to try something before they fly to a destination and get a sense of what it would feel like to do that activity. So once we started creating that, this was at the end of 2019. Everybody knows what happened at the beginning of 2020. The world went into shutdown. So we were met with the reality that travel is not going to be possible for the near future. And so at that moment in time, I had to decide whether we pursue that same goal that we set out to do, or we pivot and we create something that will be more in line with the realities of today, which is what we decided to do. So we decided to use the technology to really allow people to experience destinations from their home while they cannot travel during the pandemic.
I think it shows incredible adaptability. And I think that's something that is vital if you want to start any business.
Yeah.
You need to be ready to adapt to changes. What would you say your biggest challenges have been besides the the pandemic?
Besides
Of course.
COVID, besides
Yeah,
having us
besides
travel
the
started.
world shutting down. Besides that.
Look, I mean, as a startup founder, you're gonna have to face so many challenges on a daily basis, and this can be a very basic stuff, like building your product to make sure that it actually solves the needs and pains of your customers, finding your customers, connecting with them, explaining what you can offer them, finding a team as well. In the realities of today, the people that you hire are not the same people that you would hire 2 years ago, because everybody's working from home. And in one way it's fantastic, like Barry, you're working with us, which is amazing. And if this was 2-3 years ago, maybe that wouldn't have been possible, or that would not have been a track that we would have pursued. And I'm really excited that this is something that we are able to work with in looking for talent all over the world, which I think brings a really beautiful dynamic to the team and just really nice backgrounds and experiences and diversity. Um, in terms of my personal challenges, I think for me is learning how to be a leader and a founder in this new world, which is, fully remote, changing very quickly, very unpredictable, which makes things very difficult to plan. Um, and it's really finding that connection with people. I'm really all about connecting with people, finding common language with them, and I find it very challenging that I have to kind of sit in front of my computer and try to forge those connections over a screen. So that's been particular, but also just growing the business. I think everybody who is a startup founder has to grapple with that, where it's like, I have a great product, I know that it's fantastic, people have said it's fantastic, and how do we then take it to the next level? So it's connecting with the right people, going through accelerator programs, finding investors who can support you along the way. It's been a really challenging journey overall. I think anybody who's on this journey needs to realize that it's going to be tough, and it's going to be one that you have to just take with all the strength that you have, because there's going to be times that are really great, and there's going to be days where you're really excited and there are so many great things happening, and then there's going to be days where you just have no energy and you don't really want to keep going because it's just it looks like the world is about to end. But usually those are the times just before something really great happens.
It's definitely a sentiment you hear a lot in the industry. It's like, be prepared to have a very difficult first 3 years or first 2 years in any business, because it requires such a tremendous amount of time and effort and money invested into something you care about before it really starts to become entirely successful.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
that's something a lot of people can't uh, go through all the way. But I feel like those that do are rewarded tenfold.
Right. I mean, it's part of the equation, right? That's why they say that so many startups fail, because people give up,
Hmm.
for various reasons, and very respectable ones. You just have to know whether it's worth it for you. I think for me, I love the idea of creating experiences that are accessible to people, and really bringing travel and the ability to learn about different cultures and expand your mind, and broaden your horizons to people everywhere. And it's beyond the pandemic, beyond people not being able to travel and hop on a plane and go for a weekend away. There's tons of people who don't have the time or the resources, or just the opportunity to go out there and travel and discover the world. And I feel like that is a side of our life that is so enriching and so
Hmm.
beautiful, and it would be really great to bring that to more people. So that is a thing that really fuels me at the end of the day, and I really want to make it happen because of that. I think if I wasn't so in love with that idea and the why we want to do this, I would probably have given up already.
I think passion is extremely important if you're going to
Yeah.
be dedicating yourself to something. You really need to love it.
Yes, you do, because there are going to be really tough days. And on those tough days, you need to just remember why you're doing it, and, you know, how far you've come, actually.
Do you think that there is something you wish someone had told you before you started?
Oh my God, so many things.
I'll let you pick two.
um,
They can be as cliche as you want.
right. Well, I really would have wished that somebody would have taught me what it means to be a good leader when I was starting out, and have taught me how to assemble the right people around me and to have your crew around you, because there is so much that happens when the right people are in place that fuels the project and the initiative. And to come to that point, especially when you start out as a sole founder, and I think this is something that people struggle with a lot of the time. I struggle with it as well. Is you have this idea, you're so in love with it, you think that you know exactly the way that it needs to be done, and it's very difficult to find the people that you can trust to
Hmm.
delegate things and that you feel like understand what you're doing as much as you do. And also it's just the technical sort of practical things about how to hire and who to pick out. And so for me that was a very long process that I had to come through and learn by doing. But I think it's a super important one, to realize that people are what is going to make your company work. And it's really, really important.
Well,
Yes.
it has been a pleasure talking to you. It's been a pleasure sort of getting an insight into your mindset and your journey to where we are now. And I look forward to seeing the road ahead as we grow. Thank you for your time.
Thanks, Mary. Thank you. Thanks so much.